morning, everyone. Happy Father's Day. And we will start by saying our affirmation for this month of June, which is behind me. So let's affirm this together. Every day I am free to be me. I am grateful. And now we'll sing our opening song.
All right. Well, blessing fathers today, Sunday, July 19th. Divine love works through all and blesses and inspires. Most of us aspire to a life of peaceful, loving world and to leave a world in better place for generations to come. Fathers and those who spend time around children have the influential role of making this happen. I give thanks for the many parental figures in my life, those who have helped me guide, encourage words and actions, whether these people are still in my life or have moved on. I honor the role they play by mirroring it. I do so by mentoring and guiding those around me in kind, loving, nurturing ways. I bless all fathers and all in similar roles for strength of mind, peace, and heart. May they always know and reflect the love of God in all they think, say, and do. You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. Matthew 5:13-14. Divine love works through all to bless and inspire. Together. Divine love works through all to bless and inspire. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. And also want to remind you about the You Pray app. You can download it. It's free from Silent Unity. And I just got some info yesterday about our World Day of Prayer. So that'll be coming up in September, and we know that'll be here, before we know it, right? So this is a time where I invite you to visualize our sanctuary as a beautiful heart. So let's see this heart moving in and around and through us, back into Sunday school, just feeling and filling our whole center with that light, that love, that spirit that is God. So allow that love and that caring that we have for ourselves and each other to fill our heart. And at this time, if you know of anyone in need of prayer, anyone in your life or in our world in need of prayer, send out that energy right now for healing and love, for peace and harmony. And if there is any circumstance in your world in need of prayer and love and kindness, or in our world, of which there are many, see them lovingly in our heart as we sing the prayer for protection. And now I invite you to get comfortable where you are. Close your eyes if that feels right to you. And we begin our time of centering in prayer by just breathing. And today we take a deep breath. And we exhale deeply as well. And breathing in again deeply. And exhaling deeply. And once more breathing in. And as we exhale, we begin to relax. And just allow your breath to become an easy in, easy out. And we allow ourselves to be here right now. This is our time, this is our moment of connecting with the God of our being. And right here and right now, we just allow ourselves to feel whole and complete, filled with that presence and power that is God, life, that universal presence that some call Father. And relaxing into this presence, we allow that energy of Father to be with us. And I invite you now to know that that God Father energy is in you, filling you, nurturing you, right here and right now. That Father energy is always guiding and directing us. All we have to do is to connect and listen. And each of us has had or have a Father presence in our lives. And however that might be, allow that earthly Father presence to be with you now. Whether your Father is with you or near you or passed on, there are gifts that you have been given. And this is our time of focusing not only on the godly gifts we've been given, but the earthly ones as well. As we go into a time of quiet prayer, allow your mind and your heart to remember those earthly gifts, to send blessings and love to your Father, wherever He may be. This is a day of honoring fathers and grandfathers, that Father presence in our lives. And whether your Father was here for a short time or is still present, remember, allow your heart to open with love for that guidance and direction on that beautiful connection and communication that you can have with your Father right here in the silence. And now we take a moment to give special thanks for that loving Father energy, for that Spirit that is always guiding and directing us, for the love, the strength, the passion, that intuitive guidance, the joy and the laughter. All of these are wonderful gifts in our fathers and our mothers too. And so we say, thank you, Father, Mother God, for blessing us, reminding us of the joy and the gifts that are here for us every day. And so it is. Amen. Beautiful. Before we begin, let me ask, how is everyone doing on this wonderful Father's Day? Good, good. Does everyone have their little box? Did anyone not get a box? Oh, Patrick needs one. Just hold your hand up, and Akiko and Tomo, he's going to toss it to you. Baseball fashion, Carla needs one. Oh, and then, raise your hand higher, you won't get a box. Want you to have a box just for fun. Are we sharing boxes? Joe, we're going to share boxes. Here, I thought we had enough. No, we can do ours together. We're together. And he needs a box in the back. Perfect. Okay, so everyone has a box. And how many of you already opened it? Of course you did. Half of you did and half of you didn't. Because that's what happens in our world. Half do and half don't. Half will be wait. We all do those kinds of things. But so my lesson is about the gifts that we receive from our Father. And how many of you call God Father? Yes. There's sometimes we do. And in Unity is the first place I learned that I didn't have to have that thought. Because that's how I was raised. I was raised as God was our Father. He was outside of us, always keeping track, sort of like Santa Claus, of your good and your bad. Any of you had a God like that? Yeah, it just was very interesting to grow up in that. And also came the fear that whatever I did, I was being watched out for. And if I wasn't good all the time, guess what? I was going to get in trouble, and I would never make it to heaven. I sure didn't think I'd go to hell, but I'd have to go to purgatory to have penance. Any of you had that? Yeah, so that's what happened for me, and then I came to Unity, and the definition that Charles Fillmore had, but let me back up a second, that we're always taught that we're children of God. Is that correct? Yes. So the definition of God in the dictionary is this: the one supreme being, the creator and ruler of the universe. Now, when you hear that, where is God? Everywhere? Everywhere? Is God outside of you when you hear that definition? Sounds like it. Sounds like it. It did. It sounded like it to me. And then in Unity, we're taught that God is this infinite intelligence, this spiritual energy, which is everywhere and available to all. Charles Fillmore wrote, God is not a person who has set creation in motion and gone away and left it to run down like a clock. God is infinite mind, the immanent force and intelligent everywhere manifest in nature. God is a silent voice that speaks to visibility, all the life that there is. God as principle is absolute good in all creation. And sometimes that's difficult for us to understand. But we can't understand because we are not that God infinite intelligence. We have it within us. God is life and love and wisdom and power and strength and substance unlimited. And we use these words because it's probably the simplest way to describe our relationship with God, of knowing that we are God's children. We are that infinite force, that spiritual energy that is everywhere. God is all. We are. We are everything God is. We are God in expression. God does not directly give us presents or things such as money or clothes, but God provides all of these things and more. God gives us minds filled with ideas to use and have better lives. Is that not true? These things are our true inheritance. The more we realize that we have these spiritual gifts within us, and the more we use them, we can make good things happen in our lives. And when we listen to that still small voice, within. We're always being guided and directed to do what is best for our highest good. Would you not agree? And when you're in a struggling time, do you believe it? No. Do you need help when you're in those struggling times to help believe it? Absolutely. Because everyone in our life is that God expression trying to help us through whatever it is that we're going through. How many of you are familiar with the prodigal son story? It's written in Luke. Do you know the word prodigal means wasteful? That's what that prodigal son was doing. So for those of you who don't know this story, this is from Luke chapter 15. A man had 2 sons. The younger one, after asking his father to give him his full share of his inheritance, took the money and went away. Any of you do that or want to do that? Hey, Dad, I'll take it now. You know, you can't take it with you, so I'll take it and I'll go have an adventure. Yeah, take it now. And he soon wasted all the money on foolish things. Anybody waste money on foolish things? They're necessary, though. Life lessons, right? On foolish things. And when a shortage of food occurred in the land where he was living, he had no money to buy anything. And so he began to starve. He took any job he could find, even one that he was working and living with pigs. And they were forbidden in his culture. So he realized that things were much better where? Back at his father's house. Life lessons, right? And so he decided to return home. Feeling ashamed and sorry for having been so foolish, he asked his father to treat him not as a son, but as a servant, because he didn't feel worthy. But the father was so happy to have his son back that he gave him a ring, beautiful clothes. He gave him a great feast, and he wanted to celebrate his son's return home. He had an older brother. Now, if your younger brother takes off with his money and does what you assume are foolish things, are you going to be happy when he comes back and he even gets more than when he left with? Come on, tell the truth. Are you going to be happy for him? Well, it's a life lesson. We get to learn. And so the older brother became jealous of all the attention and the gifts that his brother was receiving. He said it wasn't fair. See, we all know this, right? Because life just isn't fair. It just is. That he had been the loyal son. I've been the one who's been with you. I didn't take stuff from you. I didn't go off and serve in the pigs. And I didn't run away. And he'd never thought it was fair that his brother should have such a celebration for being so foolish. His father explained to him that his thinking was wrong. He told him that he always was a part of him and that everything he owned was his for the asking. So the older brother just needed to do the same right where he was, to ask and receive. So sometimes we think we have to go places. Most of us didn't come from Hawaii. We came from somewhere else. But did we not have that vision in our mind of how beautiful it would be to live here? I know I did. I was fascinated by Hawaii my whole life. And my grandmother came here in the 50s. And she came on the Lura line. And she brought me a menu from the Moana Hotel. I still have it to this day. And so those things that kept that experience of life, Hawaii had something. And many of us say it's a calling. Just like ministry, just like being a doctor, Larry's calling is music. How many of you have that spiritual calling within you? It is that nudging of God in your soul to say, this is where I want you to be. This is what I have for you. And you have to know that you never leave home because God is always with you. That spirit, that guidance and direction is within us. That is the beauty of unity. Growing up, I didn't know these things. I went to church, and when I went to my grandmother's church, I was waiting to be struck down by lightning but it was so fun. Gospel singing, praising, crying. I just wanted to keep going back because my church was holy and quiet, and hers was so fun. And it was like, that was the liveliness of God that I was longing for. And I didn't come to find it till way later in life. But that Spirit of God kept urging me. It urges all of us to move forward and to do the things that we want to do. Oh boy, it's so interesting about this principle. So God as principle means that everything is always exactly as it should be. If you plant a tomato seed, what will you get? You will not get radishes or rutabagas. He'll get strawberries. Jim's just being sassy. But that's what happens. Because that's the law. Acorns give us, right? Any seed grows after itself. And where is that seed thought? Within that seed is infinite intelligence. Myrtle Fillmore said it. I, as a human, have got to have greater intelligence than that seed in the animal, than the seed in the plant. And so let us cultivate and nurture that infinite intelligence within us. And how do we do it? By being quiet, by being in nature, by being in the ocean, by being in beautiful things, surrounding ourselves with that love. Last week I talked about the chickens. We have 2 new sets of chickens this week. That 2 more? 2 mama hens and lots of babies. But you know what? When you look at those little baby chicks, they're the sweetest thing. They bring that little bit of joy inside of you, and they eat coqui frogs. Did you know that? I will not condemn a chicken ever again. So there's a beauty and a life force in everything. There's a hierarchy, and from every seed thought will manifest something good. Last Sunday, we were all here having church and having a great time, and some people had looked at the news and had seen what happened in Orlando. And several people called me or asked me if Nick and Mark were okay. They were. Immediately, we found out that they were good. A lot of their friends had been affected by what occurred. 3 instances of traumatic proportions happened in Orlando in a few days' time. So what is our energetic force to do? The minute we hear things like this, do that. Get on your You Pray app called Silent Unity. Because that's what I do every time. When there's something that I do not understand, I call 1-800-NOW-PRAY. And I want to hear someone pray with me about whatever situation might be happening in the world that I do not understand. And so in those moments of silence, the gift of understanding will come. We may never know why any of these things occur, because they do affect us way on the other side of the planet. And all we can do is pray and know that all things work together for good. And sometimes it's all about change. Isn't that the only thing permanent in life? And all the difficulties that everyone goes through, in that still small place within us is that guidance and direction. And we may never know why things happen. Never. But we will all be given some type of understanding that will move us through difficulties. And so all week people were contacting me, we were praying together. Nick and Mark called and wanted me to tell you how much they love us and miss us. And they want to be here, they want to be in Orlando, they want to be in both places. And we love them dearly, and the gifts that they brought to this ministry. Because everyone here has a gift many gifts within you, and you all gather in this little place called Unity of Kona, and you give them freely. That is God acting in our lives. And even in spite of things that we might be afraid of, we are willing to step up to that plate, to move forward and say, okay, God, I don't understand, but I'm willing to continue on this path. I'm willing to do what I need to do, which is cultivate gratitude in the sight of destruction. And so today in our meditation, when I talked about the gifts that your earthly father had brought to you, I have an analogy, an anagram for father. And the F stands for faith. Fathers teach us how to have faith in God and in ourselves and in life. A is for action. Fathers teach us to take action in our lives, to do what is right for us to do. I don't have too many memories of my earthly father, but I do remember learning how to ride a bicycle and having those training wheels. And when the training wheels came off, and we lived in this I lived in the housing project of Oakland. That's where I was born and raised in the beginning of my life. And there were all these white picket fences around the sidewalks. And so we all tried to learn to ride our bikes. And I remember that first feeling of my dad saying, you can do it, Debbie, you can do it. You can do it without those training wheels. And the minute that I got that little push from my brother, which I wasn't sure if I was going to end up on the ground or not, and I remember him pushing me, and he wasn't so happy for me because he was the older brother, and I had a really nice bike, and he didn't. He had his fire engine. So we all have issues when we're kids. So I learned to ride that bike, and that encouragement from my father and my mother that I could do it. How many of you have been at that place in your life where you learned to do something you thought you could never do? Everybody in this room has something. Absolutely, because that is life. And that freedom, that feeling. So fathers teach us. They're teachers. They teach us how to take action. The H is for healer. How many of you have dads? I had to learn to do this with my son. Because whenever my grandchildren fall, I'm like, are you all right? So my son Dave told me, Mom, don't do that. He's okay. And so Polu, who many of you know, when he was little, he'd be running around, he'd fall, and he'd stand up and he'd go, I'm okay. Do you remember that, Sash? That was his face. And I mean, he could be bleeding. I'm okay. I'm okay. So learning how to say I'm okay is like a masculine dad thing. And so my son is teaching his son, and Polu's learning from all of us, that when you fall down, you really are going to be okay. And so it's a wonderful thing to have happen. And so the E is for expressive. And so how do you picture a dad? Stern or happy? Aren't they usually the jokesters in the family, usually? Any of you had a funny dad? So to some people, right? Yeah, right, exactly, to some people. And then the R is for respect. So we learn respect. My sons have been trying to teach that to their boys, is to always have respect for life, for other people, for other things, for yourself. And so faith, action, teacher, healer, expressive, and respect, those are some of the gifts that a father might give you. So inside everyone's box is a gift that you have been given today of one of these expressions of father. So who got what? Joe, you and I got action. We're taking action. Oh, you got your own. Good. Who got something that they went, oh my gosh, I could resonate? Dawn got healer. Respect. Faith. I heard respect. Respect.
Teacher.
Okay, Virginia, that was not planned. That was so not planned.
He did that.
Yeah.
I'm not teacher though, and I never been.
Right, exactly. So teach two teachers together.
That was exactly what I did.
That's exactly what she did. So can you see that maybe your dad had some influence in your life, whether you liked him or not? Absolutely. And I know with me and my dad, it was action to always, like, he didn't live very long. He was 36. I was 5 when he passed away. So action was an important part of my life, to just keep moving and keep learning and feeling your feelings and walking through this thing called life. And how did I get that gift? I barely knew him. And action is an important part of my life. And so these are the things that maybe you want to focus on this week. Maybe that specific gift, because you're here to do maybe that today or this week. For the teachers to teach, the healers to heal, the respectful people to share that. And their faith. Carla got faith. She's a chaplain. Just saying, you never know what gifts you will be given. So we might have to look for them sometimes, because it might be difficult. But we are God's children here on this earth to be that expression of God in body form. So do the best that you can. Act on what it is that you have been given today, that gift that is you. Thank you, everyone.